The rock universe is, well, it's vast, isn't it? It's splintered, and it's constantly evolving if you want to know what's really happening on the ground.
It's almost impossible to keep up.
Right. What are listeners actually demanding across all these different subgenres? Not just the legacy stuff we all know, but the raw pulse of what's current. You need a very specific kind of radar for that.
And that radar can just be overwhelming. I mean, modern rock doesn't live in one lane anymore. It's fractured into these tiny micro niches, and they're all defined by what? Specific emotional deliveries, production styles, themes.
Exactly. It's a mountain of information to filter through.
A huge mountain.
Which is precisely why we're taking the ultimate shortcut today. We are skipping all that noise and launching a deep dive right into the core of the rock ecosystem. We're going to analyze the top 10 charts of 5 very distinct stations from the TIORR network.
The only rock radio. And these 5 charts are, I mean, they're invaluable. They're more than just rankings. They are real-time diagnostic tools. They show us exactly what different, very targeted segments of the rock audience are asking for right now.
We've got 50 specific tracks here. It's like a foundational data set broken down into 5 distinct flavors. We've got powerful rock, hard-hitting anthems,
Melodic heavy hitters, alternative grooves, and maybe most importantly, emerging talent.
This is, I think, essential knowledge for anyone who wants to quickly get a handle on the sheer diversity and the vitality of current rock music. It's about spotting where the genre lines are starting to blur.
And where the new sonic experiments are happening. And really, it's about discovering the next wave of artists you absolutely have to hear.
Our mission today is pretty thorough. We're going to analyze the specific track titles on each of these charts, what those titles might suggest about the music, the tempo, the production, the lyrical angle.
And then we connect all of that back to the station's stated identity. But the most important part really is to encourage you, the listener, to go and explore these musical landscapes for yourself. Because, I mean, analyzing the data is one thing.
But hearing the track that hits #1 on powerful rock versus the one that's topping groove rock, that's the real test.
It's the only way to feel the difference. This isn't just a 5-course tasting menu of rock. It's more like 5 geological samples.
That's a great way to put it. It shows us the different layers, the strata of modern rock.
And that stratification is, it's fascinating. As we jump into these lists, you need to keep one critical detail in mind that we're going to explore a bit later. There's an artist who manages to chart on 2 completely separate lists.
Oh, interesting.
And that one detail tells us everything about, mastering different subgenres and just how porous those genre lines are today. But first, let's start where the volume is cranked up the highest.
Okay, let's unpack this. Section 1, TIORR1. The source material defines this as the home of powerful rock tracks. They're hitting a refresh button with a brand new top 10, and their instruction is very direct.
Crank up the volume.
Exactly. So this station is defining that core, high-energy, mainstream rock that's driving maximum listener demand.
Yeah, this station is not subtle. When you define yourself by powerful rock, you are targeting the high-fidelity, high-impact listener. This is the foundation. The music here has to be immediately accessible, sonically aggressive.
And designed for constant rotation.
Absolutely. It's the starting line for anyone seeking that constant stream of high-energy, proven rock hits 24/7.
So let's look at the tracks that are driving this energy. Landing at the coveted #1 spot is Les Pauls, or the Pauls, with the track Alice Cooper.
Whoa, okay, stop right there. That title alone is a huge statement.
It is, isn't it? It makes you stop and think.
It's a massive signaling mechanism. I mean, when an artist names a track after a foundational figure like Alice Cooper, the godfather of theatrical heavy shock rock, it suggests a few things.
Like what? A tribute?
It could be a direct tribute, sure. Or maybe it's a spiritual successor trying to capture that signature, dark, but still really catchy rock style. Or maybe it's an updated, modern reinterpretation. Whatever it is, for the listener, that track promises intensity and a knowing wink to rock history. It fits perfectly with the powerful rock mandate.
It really does. It's like they're putting themselves in dialogue with the rock canon right from the get-go.
Okay, so immediately following at #2, we have TASHA B, and she's listed as TASHA B punk. The track is Don't Kiss the Dead.
And that artist listing is the key detail there. Epunk.
Right, electronopunk.
That implies a hybrid. This isn't just your traditional guitar rock. It's likely got synths, programmed drums, maybe some heavy industrial effects layered over the top of the usual rock instruments.
And the title Don't Kiss the Dead. That definitely suggests some sharp, maybe morbid themes, and a high-energy confrontational delivery for sure. It's exactly what Tier 1 listeners would crave. It shows us that Powerful rock today, in this context, is very often about fusion. It's not just one thing anymore.
Okay, looking down the list, you can see that commitment to anthemic immediate energy. Number 7 is BAMIL, with the power of 3.
Which just screams power trio, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds like a driving, riff-focused track built around that classic structure. And then Randie O'Neill is holding down number 10 with that smile, which I'm guessing might be a high-tempo, emotionally charged track. It sort of grounds the energy in something universally relatable.
And you can't overlook the tracks that are just pure rock declarations. I mean, look at number 5. Minna Ora's track is simply titled Rock.
That is a bold choice.
It's so bold. It suggests a stripped-down, no-frills, essentialist approach. It's a track that's basically saying, we are the definition of this station. It appeals directly to the core Tier 1 mandate of being the standard bearer for powerful rock.
But the list gets really interesting when you look at the tracks that seem to imply more complex dynamics, like Numb Surprise has Let Me Get What I Want at number 6. That title just screams classic rock ambition, maybe with a heavy dose of swagger.
It really does. And then you've got Till Midnight at number 9 with Deed IVE.
With the exclamation point.
Yes. The title is all exclamation points and immediate visceral action. It suggests a track that's probably built around huge tempo shifts or maybe some massive drops. It's designed for a physical reaction.
These tracks all seem to fulfill the expectation of powerful rock, but here's the one that I think is the major conceptual hurdle, the one that requires a deeper analysis. At number 8, we have Gabriel Arias.
With a track called Zen.
Right. How does Zen, a title we associate with calm, meditation, quiet, how does that coexist with the crank up the volume mandate of this station? It feels like a fundamental contradiction on the surface.
It does, and it forces us to redefine what powerful can mean. If this track is charting here, it obviously can't be just ambient background music, so it has to suggest one of two things.
Okay.
First, maybe powerful refers to the technical execution, the precision, the focus, the sheer mastery of the instrument that reflects the deep concentration implied by the word Zen.
So, power through control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or second, and I think this is probably more likely, it uses massive dynamic contrast.
Yeah.
The track might feature these long, atmospheric, almost silent passages that just build and build tension.
Only to explode into these huge, powerful rock releases.
Precisely. The Zen moments make the rock moments hit exponentially harder.
So it's not a constant sonic assault, but a strategically placed one. The power is in the structure and the focus, which makes it emotionally complex rather than just, aggressive. That is brilliant programming, if that's the case. It subverts the listener's expectation just enough to keep the rotation interesting.
It keeps the playlist from becoming monotonous. I mean, if every single track is just flat-out speed and volume, the listener gets fatigue. Zen is the palate cleanser that proves true power can come from control. It lets you truly appreciate it when you do crank up the volume for the next track.
Like, for instance, Jim Catwalk and Baron's Ramling at number 4.
And remember that name, Jim Catwalk and Barons. We are definitely coming back to them.
Okay, so since they're our key crossover band, let's look at Ramling, the title itself. It suggests maybe something long, rambling, maybe a bit bluesy or lyrically dense, but it's still delivered with the energy required to land in the top 5 on this station.
Absolutely. It has to be a foundational track for this station, one that requires that kind of versatility. The big takeaway for Tier 1 is that, yes, it's the definition of current high-demand, high-impact rock, but even here, the rules are flexing to allow for electronic influence with epunk and this conceptual complexity with Zen.
It's a dynamic list. It's constantly being tested for maximum engagement.
It is. And to truly understand its identity, you really have to hear these 10 tracks in context.
Now let's get a little more specific. We're moving from the general high-demand, powerful rock of Tier 1 to Section 2, TIORR 2. This station is dedicated to hard-hitting rock anthems, and the source confirms they are bringing the heat with a brand new selection.
And this is a really crucial conceptual shift. The difference between powerful rock on Tier 1 and anthems here on Tier 2, it lies in the scope and the production.
What do you mean by scope?
Well, anthems are built for massive crowds, for high emotional resonance. They need huge choruses, heavy reverb, pounding rhythms, and they often feature these universal lyrical themes like triumph, struggle, or collective identity.
So where Tier 1 is looking for immediate energy,
Tier 2 is looking for monumental impact.
that monumental quality is definitely reflected in the titles that made the cut this week. Leading the charge at number 1 is B-Astre with Blue Viral.
Blue Viral. Now that title has a distinctly modern feel, doesn't it? Almost apocalyptic or crisis-driven.
Yeah, it suggests a pervasive energy, like something spreading rapidly and consuming everything.
And in the context of an anthem, that could be a track about societal struggle or maybe overcoming some shared invisible threat. It just demands a huge driving beat and some really high-gain guitar work.
We see that same sheer force continuing right down the chart. Look at Brian Keefe at number 7 with Dancing with the Lightning.
I love that title. It's not just dynamic imagery, it's mythic.
It is. It suggests wrestling with these immense natural or emotional forces. This is just tailor-made for an anthem. I can already hear the soaring guitar solo, the massive drum fills.
And lyrics that elevate the everyday struggle into something totally epic.
Yeah.
And then you cap the list at number 10 with Embertears, and their track is The Conqueror.
I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory.
It's about dominance, victory, power. The production on that track has to be relentless and driving to get that narrative of triumph across. It really confirms a specific focus of this station. Monumental, emotionally saturated, hard-hitting rock.
And we find that same thread in other really energized titles. At number 8, there's the Wild Blues Hot Rod Mama. That brings in a sense of speed, rebellion, maybe a touch of classic rock influence.
But delivered with modern hard rock intensity, for sure. And then you have Jamc's Company at number 2, and Zeebrax's Cherry Girl at number 3. These are likely high-velocity tracks that ground that intensity in more specific stories, maybe about relationships or defiance.
The best hard rock often finds that psychological depth underneath all the noise, and we see that juxtaposition right here on this chart.
We do. Chuck Eaton's Your Shadow at number 5.
And Black Sunday's Looking Down at number 9. These titles suggest, internal conflict, maybe surveillance, or just darker psychological moods that exist inside all that volume.
It's the catharsis of shouting about your inner demons. That's what hard rock does so well.
Exactly. The force isn't just for show, it's the delivery mechanism for really deep emotional content. And then you have KeithShaw's Invisible Man at number 4, which is a classic hard rock trope.
A powerful identity statement about feeling overlooked.
Delivered at high velocity with a huge, undeniable chorus to make sure that you are finally seen.
Now, here is where TIORR 2 really pushes its own boundaries.
Yeah.
And reflects the global nature of rock consumption today.
At number 6, we have Fabyán with Ein neuer Tag, A New Day.
A non-English title.
Yay!
German. That is not an incidental detail in the hard rock world, is it? It suggests a very definite sonic influence.
It does. We have to assume, given the hard-hitting label, that this track incorporates those dense, precise, almost machine-like industrial elements that were popularized by German bands like Rammstein.
Right. If you hear a German title on a hard-hitting rock anthem chart, it's a pretty good bet the programming director is looking for that specific powerful rhythmic quality.
And maybe a darker, more dramatic vocal delivery that often comes with that style. It's a very specific subgenre focus. It's a deliberate choice. And the translation, A New Day, that contrasts so strongly with the darkness of Looking Down or the crisis of Blue Viral. It introduces the sense of, aggressive optimism or defiant hope.
But delivered through that dense, heavy framework, it's a powerful statement of moving forward, but on your own terms.
So the takeaway here for the listeners is that TIORR isn't just loud, it's focused. It's focused on that high-impact, world-spanning style of rock that is built to be played loud and feels monumental. It's built for arenas.
If you need that specific visceral hit of defiance and force, TIORR 2 is essential listening. And you have to hear how that German language track fits into this monumental aesthetic. It's a key piece of the puzzle.
Okay, now we have to make a necessary pivot. We've established the difference between general power on Tier 1 and monumental scale on Tier 2. So in Section 3, Tier 3 gives us a completely new selection of heavy hitters and powerful rock tracks. But this time, it's specifically leaning toward melodic rock.
This is the point where technical skill meets pop sensibility.
A perfect bridge.
It is. Melodic rock in this high-energy context. The power and the high-gain aggression have to be there, but the track's success hinges entirely on the strength of its hooks, on the memorability of its chorus, the clarity of the song structure.
So it's hard rock that you can actually sing along to?
That's it, exactly. You might hear more keyboards or more complex vocal arrangements. The power is still central, but the polish is much higher.
The track titles here are immediately more narrative and descriptive, which hints at that storytelling aspect that's inherent in melodic structures. At number 1, we have Splitsville with I Hate Going to Hutzler's.
That specificity is a genre hallmark. The title is highly relatable, maybe even a bit humorous or nostalgic, about some mundane, frustrating experience.
Everyone has a Hutzlers.
Everyone does. It tells us the band prioritizes lyrical specificity and probably a strong verse-chorus structure that lets that narrative unfold. That is classic melodic rock. It gives the listener something deeper to latch on to beyond just the riff.
And then we get to this fascinating instance of outright genre fusion at number 2, Garlen Low with Country Boy, Country Girl.
Now that reference is incredibly striking for a chart that's labeled heavy hitters.
It really is. What do you make of that?
Well, this is where we see the genre lines truly dissolving. It certainly doesn't mean the track is twangy folk music. What it likely means is that Garlen Low is blending the direct, narrative lyrical structure of country. Maybe some acoustic textures or slide guitar sounds associated with country rock.
And then delivering it all through powerful, heavy rock production?
Exactly. It shows an acceptance on the station of hybrid sounds, as long as the delivery maintains that essential melodic hook and power. It's a really important signal for the direction of crossover rock.
And we can see other titles that maintain that driving, structured, powerful feel. We've got Fabyán at number 5 with Struggle for Money.
A direct, relatable narrative, focused on social or economic pressures. Perfect for a strong melodic chorus that everyone can shout along to.
Right. And the Ovines are at number 7 with 10 Street Miles, suggesting a long, epic journey or some kind of confrontation.
And the classic rock DNA is just undeniable here. Look at number 9, Tarzan Grip with Rocker My Baby.
That's such an energetic, almost vintage-sounding title.
It confirms that classic appeal blended into a heavy format. Reminds me of, 80s arena rock. And then you have Robot Hive's Heaven's Gate at number 8, which suggests both an epic scale and a heavy, maybe symphonic sound design. Ideal for melodic rock's grand ambitions.
Okay, now we have to dedicate some serious time to the Jamc, Catwalk, and Barons crossover. Because this is where the programming strategy of TIORR really comes into focus. We saw them on Tier 1 at number 4 with Ramling.
And they are right here on Tier 3, also number 4 with Jump Through the Night.
So what does that mean? What does that tell us?
This cross-charting success is the ultimate modern rock versatility test. They are charting at the same time in general powerful rock and specialized melodic heavy hitters. It means their music is powerful enough for the broadest, highest demand rock audience.
But it's also sufficiently complex, structured, and polished enough to satisfy the audience that's seeking clear melody and technical refinement.
They're hitting 2 targets at once.
But the 2 tracks, they must be fundamentally different in their execution, right? Even if they share the same DNA.
Oh, they absolutely must be. We can probably deduce the likely musical differences just from the context and the titles. Ramling, which is charting on the more general Tier 1, likely relies on raw energy, maybe a faster tempo or a more simplified, repetitive driving riff that just hits hard on demand.
It's built for immediate impact.
Right. While Jump Through the Night, on this melodic heavy hitters chart, probably features that massive, unforgettable chorus. That's the key selling point for Tier 3.
So you think Jump Through the Night would have more instrumental variety?
I'd speculate that yes, maybe a key change, a massive harmonized vocal layer, or even some synth pads to create that epic melodic backdrop. It's structured for a crescendo, it's built to soar. This band is demonstrating that they can adjust their material to fit distinct sonic niches without losing their core identity.
Which is really a blueprint for modern rock success.
It is.
This raises a really fascinating question about the production side of things. I mean, did they record these tracks with different engineers? Or is this the result of a single producer consciously crafting 2 different sounds for 2 different markets? It shows incredible strategic thinking from the band.
It's a masterful demonstration of segmentation. They're proving that these niches, powerful and melodic, are close enough to share an audience base, but they're distinct enough to require specialized material.
So listeners who appreciate both that brute force power and a memorable hook, they must be exploring TIORR 3.
That's who this station is for. They deliver that wide range of intense rock music all week long. The imperative here is so clear. Tune in, and specifically, listen to Jamc, Catwalk, and Barons on both stations. Compare Ramling and Jump Through the Night back to back.
That direct comparison is probably the deepest analysis you can do of how modern rock subgenres are defined today.
It really is.
Okay, we are making a sharp departure now, a big one. We're leaving the world that's defined by sheer volume and aggression and moving to section 4, TIORR Groover. The source defines this as a blend of cool alternative sounds and rock-solid grooves.
And the descriptors they use, groove rock and indie music, they confirm a very distinct shift in focus. This station is defined by rhythm, texture, and feeling, rather than raw intensity of volume.
So when we talk about groove rock, what are we really talking about?
We're talking about music where the bass line, the drumming, and the offbeat guitar rhythms, they take precedence over high-gain distortion or constant heavy riffs. It caters to a more discerning audience, someone interested in atmosphere and movement.
It sounds like it draws from different influences.
It does, heavily from post-punk, funk, new wave, or even garage rock.
The new playlist for this station immediately establishes that atmosphere. At number 1, we have Cherry Pulp with Love in the 90s.
And that title instantly cues the genre, the mood, and even the likely production style. You're probably expecting a cleaner, more compressed sound, maybe with strong chorus or flange effects.
Evoking grunge, Britpop, or classic alternative sounds from that era.
It sets a nostalgic sonic expectation right away. And following that closely at number 2 is Berthold Kusero with Driving My Blue Corvette. That is such specific cinematic imagery.
This is storytelling rock. The instrumentation acts as the backdrop for a detailed scene. You can almost feel the wind and hear the engine noise in the music just from the title.
Right. It's all about creating an atmosphere. And the contrast with the previous stations is key. Where Tier 1 just had that general declaration rock, Tier Groover has this highly specific atmosphere setting, Driving My Blue Corvette.
And speaking of highly specific, we have to address the track at number 3. Desu Tame with Let's Get Stoned and Tase Each Other.
Yeah, we have to talk about that one.
That is easily the most provocative and boundary-pushing title across all 50 tracks we've analyzed today.
It is the absolute epitome of the alternative rock attitude. It's designed to shock, to convey a sense of reckless abandon, maybe some dark humor. It signals a complete rejection of the mainstream polish we found on the other lists.
It's a statement track?
It is. It's meant to challenge the listener and inject a dose of chaotic energy. It fits squarely within the anti-establishment nature of alternative rock. The title basically says, we're doing things very differently over here.
The focus on rhythm is reinforced by other titles, too. Take Fuel by Disco Partisan at number 8.
The artist name itself is a genre fusion hint.
It is. A blend of danceable rhythm, disco, with the defiant political attitude, partisan of alternative rock. You expect a tight, propulsive bass line and maybe some four-on-the-floor drumming there.
Or consider Bloodsucker by Daft Veil at number 10. While the title is dark, that word is often used in funk or post-punk to describe, parasitic relationships, and it's delivered with a syncopated, angular rhythm. The groover audience is less about the weight of the guitar tone and more about the precision of that rhythm section.
We also see the return of multilingual tracks, which confirms the alternative global reach of this niche. At number 5, Real Feelings has Wenn du nicht bei mir bist,
which translates to When You Are Not With Me in German. Now, we saw a German use on TIORR for that industrial force.
But here, on a groover chart,
it likely represents a softer, more atmospheric delivery, maybe some new wave influence or emotional introspection. It just proves that alternative rock is truly international in its soundscape and its texture.
And the uniqueness just keeps coming. Number 9 is Anna Faye with Anna Faye, My Way, the Country Way.
This is a self-referential title and a truly unique classification within groove rock. It suggests a blend of autobiographical storytelling, maybe some acoustic elements, Americana textures, but all filtered through an indie rock lens.
So the indie music descriptor means the sound is genre agnostic?
As long as the underlying rhythm and texture are compelling, yes. It's not about classification, it's about the vibe.
The overall impression of this list is storytelling, atmosphere, and a reliance on rhythm over volume. Titles like Inside My Head from the Blips or In This Paradox by Mosquito Control Music. They all imply a lyrical depth and a sound that's designed for atmosphere and feeling.
So if you're seeking a vibrant sound that prioritizes rhythm, texture, and challenging lyrical content, TIORR Groover is where you need to be. It's 200 for 7 access to music that deliberately sidesteps the standard heavy rock tropes.
You really have to listen for those specific titles and compare the texture here against the sheer intensity of Tier 1. It's a world of difference.
It's a completely different world.
Finally, we shift our focus entirely to discovery. Section 5 is Tier Emerging Artists. It's dedicated to the rising stars of rock and breakthrough tracks. This is the station where the future is being built, often with, limited resources, but maximum passion.
This is the listener's chance to be a patron of the arts, to get ahead of the curve. The value proposition here is pure, unadulterated, independent music discovery. It's about supporting the raw energy and the emotional honesty that often gets polished out of tracks that are destined for Tier 1 or 2.
The track list of tomorrow, as we could call it, is filled with titles that sound fresh, intimate, and introspective. They're perfectly suited for that indie rock aesthetic. Number 1 is Escaper with Getaway.
A classic indie trope. It suggests a thematic focus on movement, escape, maybe a journey. It relies on strong narrative delivery.
And look at number 2, James Clark Institute with It's Still Snowing Outside.
That is so atmospheric and narrative. It paints a very detailed picture, suggesting a mood that is reflective, maybe a bit melancholic, certainly cinematic. It confirms that this station values atmosphere and lyrical depth over, say, high production fidelity.
We see that introspective, observational mood just dominating this list. Robbie Dunbar's Look Out Your Window at number 5.
And Jennifer Teft and The Strangest Salt in the Sea at number 8. Both of those lean into strong poetic imagery and narrative storytelling. They often emphasize the singer-songwriter aspect of indie rock.
We have to talk about the band names themselves, too. Like you just said, Jennifer Teft and The Strange.
Right. That name suggests a blend of established vocal depth, Jennifer Teft, with a backing band that introduces unique, maybe slightly off-kilter or unsettling textures, The Strange. That all contributes to the overall independent sound.
Now, this next detail is, I think, crucial for understanding the raw reality of emerging talent. Look at Jeff Cossack's track at number 3. I Guess I'm Over You, Final Ma.
The title structure.
Yeah.
The capitalization, the final ma at the end.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a title that was designed for a billboard, does it?
Not at all. It looks like a file name.
Right.
Or a working title that maybe accidentally made it onto the chart list.
And that accidental honesty, that slight rawness, is the perfect symbol for the independent scene.
It
signals authenticity. This isn't music that has gone through 10 levels of corporate polish.
This is music being created in the moment, ready for its breakthrough.
That slight technical imperfection, that sense of immediacy, it just reinforces the station's identity. Other tracks, like The Dogs' Inside Out at number 6 or Mike Browning's Paisley Haze at number 4, they all suggest a focus on raw emotional delivery and strong, simple visual imagery.
The core tenets of the emerging indie rock aesthetic.
Exactly. This station's value is providing that platform. These songs, Reunion at 7, Now at 9, See You Again at 10, they are immediate and relatable. They're focused on core, strong, emotional concepts. They have the potential, if they resonate with you now, to be the tracks that migrate to the Groover chart next year.
Or even the melodic heavy hitter chart down the line.
It's possible. If you are serious about music discovery and supporting the next generation of rock, this station is non-negotiable. You're getting 247 access to what is genuinely fresh and often completely unfiltered.
We really urge you to listen to TIORR emerging artists 24/7 to discover new sound and actively invest your listening time in the independent scene.
You're hearing the proving ground. The tracks here are so often defined by their emotional sincerity over slick production, and that unique rawness is worth a deep dive all by itself.
What an exhaustive survey of the current rock landscape. We have moved with purpose, analyzing 50 specific tracks across 5 stations.
We really have.
We started with the high-octane, powerful rock of Tier 1, contrasted it with the monumental, hard-hitting anthems of Tier 2.
We navigated the melodic structure and the surprising genre blends of Tier 3.
Immersed ourselves in the alternative rhythms and specific storytelling of Tier Groover.
And finally, we zeroed in on the raw future stars of Tier emerging artists.
And we didn't just read a list. We really tried to analyze how a title like Love in the 90s defines a rhythmic texture.
Or how the Conqueror demands a stadium sound, and how the dual presence of Jim Catwalk and Barons forced us to deconstruct the very definition of versatility in the modern era. We looked at the programming anomalies like Zen, and the independent honesty of I Guess I'm Over You, Final Ma.
And why this matters is immediate. You now have 5 perfectly curated musical roadmaps. You understand the unique identity of each of these stations, and you have a list of specific artists, from TASHA B to Splitsville, from Desutayam to Jeff Cossack, that you can instantly use as an entry point into the precise sound you're looking for right now.
And we have to return to that critical question that was raised by the cross-charting success and the pervasive genre blending we've witnessed. I mean, from the country influence in heavy rock to the German influence in both hard rock and indie groove. This all raises the ultimate provocative thought for you to consider as you go and explore these stations.
Is the modern rock listener actually seeking these distinct, easily categorized niches? Or are they hungry for bands that can fluidly move between them?
It's a huge question. If the audience on TR1 is happy to listen to Jim Catwalk and Barons alongside the audience on TR3, does this mean the genre lines are truly blurring into irrelevance? And that success is now defined solely by a band's capacity for high-quality, versatile songwriting across multiple rhythmic and melodic styles.
Or are these niches, however close they might be, still essential for curating the specific mood that listeners demand at any given moment?
That is the ultimate test of categorization in the streaming era.
And there is only one way to truly understand the sonic difference between the high-energy charge of Blue Viral and the introspective atmosphere of It's Still Snowing Outside.
We strongly urge you to immediately follow the links to the tier stations. The true deep dive only happens when you hear these 50 specific tracks for yourself. When you hear Zen and decide if its complex dynamics are indeed powerful, and when you feel the unique sonic identity of each broadcaster. Go explore the charts we just detailed. Go find your new favorite rock station and experience the vitality of this ecosystem.